device you're wearing is hooked into your upper and lower jaws. When the timer in the back goes off, your mouth will be permanently ripped open. Think of it like a reverse bear trap. Here, I'll show you. There is only one key to open the device. It's in the stomach of your dead cellmate. Look around, Amanda. Know that I'm not lying. You better hurry up. Live or die. Make your choice. This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
Welcome to Invasion of the Remake podcast. I'm your host, Jason Bishop, flying solo again with another Horror Con special. Yes, I am using these to cover up my impending move. Thank you for being patient, but I'm hoping you're enjoying these Horror Con episodes. We enjoyed going to Horror Con, and there are some amazing panels over there every year, and we're happy that we get to bring these to you. We're the only podcast allowed to record the panels for you, so it's a big honor, and thanks to Dan at Horror Con for allowing that. And we might be actually hosting some of those panels next year, so stay tuned for that as news develops, but always look forward to going to HorrorCon in any kind of capacity. And this week we are bringing you the panel for Shawnee Smith. And of course, you probably most remember her from the Saw franchise, but there's also that wonderful Blob remake from the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there. People don't realize how long Shawnee's actually been around and given us some great horror stuff and just a great actress all around and a really friendly personality. So I hope you enjoy this panel live from HorrorCon with Shawnee Smith from the Saw franchise.
Hi. Do I sit here?
Yeah.
I was saying, everyone's just so mellow here, you know? It's like,
Come down the elevator, I'm standing over there waiting. All of a sudden I go, there's a panel in here.
Dude, I almost walked into the mirror at the upstairs. You know, you go where I'm signing upstairs, there's these bitchin' like inside of boxes, like Lego on steroids. Then I'm checking them out, and there's a big mirror there reflecting. I literally almost walked, right? Thinking it was another room.
But you didn't in here.
Thank you for being here. Woo! We made it, right?
We did.
We made it. We fucking made it. Thank God. What a couple of years.
It has been.
Yeah.
A couple years.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what have you been up to this last couple of years?
what have I been up to? Oof. Oh boy. Whoa. It's been a tough couple of years. But it's a good reminder that that really, like the Beatles said, love is all you need. But it's true, you know. It really is. And 2 by 2, and go team go. You know, like people need people and nothing else. And that's all I'm going to say about this. That's the only quotes I'm going to throw out there. But yeah. Professionally wise, I came out of a minor retirement, and I'm doing a show for Apple TV called City on Fire. It's not out yet, but that's coming out, I don't know, maybe the fall or something. It's one of those 8 episodes. Miniseries. Yeah, I took a few years off just to raise my kids, and just because I started acting when I was 8, and I never really had a regular life, and I just wanted to have a regular life with my kids and kind of grow up with them, a little. And during that time, man, everything changed. And it was funny when COVID hit and everyone was like, oh my gosh, we're quarantined, we're staying at home. I'm like, that's how we've been living for the last 3 years. I think my kids started public school when COVID hit. I'm like, what is wrong with us? It's like we're the backwards people. But yeah, so it's all changed. Like there are no, I don't know, maybe there used to be half-hour sitcom in your major networks and pilot season around end of January, February when all the new TV shows cast, and you would have 22 episode seasons. Now there are just like 1,000 things going on, and the seasons are 8 episodes, 10 episodes. It's just like the whole terrain has changed. And with social media and influencers, it's like, it's all, so much is changing so fast. Like my boys, my daughter's 23, but my boys are more from that culture, the modern TikTok, and it's like just these little, everything's super fast, super fast, super fast. So it's like, I'm so curious to see where it leads, like if we keep taking in our stories, if we can tolerate, like a movie length, or it just keeps getting shorter and shorter. I don't know, whatever. Either way, storytelling rocks. Okay, so we have love. That's all you need. Storytelling rocks. People need people and nothing else. 2 by 2. There'll be a test later.
I told you, he's going to tackle me.
You seen how she came in and stole the room?
She
How
did.
was she supposed to say
We're just bickering family. We love you.
Oh, that's what families do. We just bicker, right? Then we stick together, bicker some more. That's how we bond, That's why you become so bonded making a film, because it's so hard. You suffer together, Nothing like suffering together to bond you. Well, that's a good segue into the Saw movies, isn't it?
But you don't like horror movies.
No.
That's a broad.
That changed.
I deeply appreciate horror movies and deeply, deeply appreciate the fans of horror movies. They just scare the shit out of me. Literally, my daughter went to college in Missouri, so we travel as a pack. We all went out there. We're in the mountains out there and meet the neighbors, and they say, hey, neighbor, it was Halloween. They said, we're going to have a outdoor screening of Halloween, and, the kids can play inside or come out. Y'all want to come? I said, yeah, neighborly, we come, we're sitting out there. I'm the only one screaming at every jump scare. And then at some point I'm like, I'll take care of the kids inside. And I excused myself because I could not take the cortisol running through my body. Like I'm just, if we still lived in tribes, like you would hire me to like guard the thing at night because like a pin drops and I'm like, it's just like how I'm made, But what?
But you're also gone.
Yeah, no. Oh no, in that case I would fight. I would not flight. In that case.
I'm not even lying.
In that case, I would. I actually had a friend scare me from behind. I punched her, and I did not mean to. I said, I'm so sorry, but that's just like, I get mad when I get scared. Which all, I guess, works very well for the Saw franchise.
Any co-workers get hit during that then? Because Tobin's quite the prankster.
Is he?
I heard.
I tried to do a whoopee cushion joke on him on the last scene,
Well,
and
I heard that he loves to stay in character and never break a smile or nothing.
Yeah.
Messing with people.
Oh, yeah. He was very serious with me. It was so funny. He said, I was looking at that picture upstairs, Someone had me sign it, and so I looked really closely at his face again and mine, and I could just see him, He was like... And that's the scene, the last thing we filmed, I was trying to do this whoopee cushion joke with the usual regular whoopee cushion. I should have now I know they make electronic ones that you could depend on more. Darren Bousman, he could have been doing from remote. He was in on it. He was like a kid, he was so excited about this. And it just would not go off. And Patoba looks at me and he looks at me and he goes, "Where are you?" I'm like, all right, fuck it. I was trying to do this whoopee cushion joke. It's not working. I'm just going to forget it. And he goes, okay, let's do the scene. And then, then I connected with him. Thank God. It's super fun when acting is like a game of tennis. You play as well as your opponent. So acting with him is it's great when you could just trust the other 2 by 2. Here we are. That's why these quotes just keep coming around.
Yes. Since we're on the subject here, how did you get into character for Amanda Young? She was traumatized.
Well, it was definitely evolved over the 3 films, and nobody knew where it was going. The writers didn't know where it was going. And so things developed Saw 2, I got pregnant right before I was supposed to film. And I didn't want to tell them because, number one, I wanted to do the job, and I didn't want them to be freaked out on set, you can't do this, you can't do that, because I wanted to play this part. But I didn't know how soon I would show or not, so the only person I told was the wardrobe, the costumer. And so I'm like, okay, so what if we do sweatpants? So she found these cool pants, and I'm like, whoa, those look kind of like hospital garbs. I'm like, whoa, what if I just came out of some hospital? So then we put the things around my wrist, and then it's and then I was like, what if we just, leave my hair, cut it short, it was just this kind of intuitive developing of the character that, and then things developed just through the shoot. Nobody knew how that movie was going to end when we started filming it. The writers didn't know how it would end. So it developed as we went on, and then Saw 3, now it was the relationship with John. And it was originally written Lee Whannell, and I, in hindsight, maybe I should just let him run in that direction, but then they would have had the wrong actress. Even though I want to be that actress, it was written super villain, she comes in, the first scene, I'm supposed to come in a cloak, and just be fucking, badass. And I read that, I was like, oh man, I'm going to look ridiculous. First of all, I'm tiny. And then they cast Bahar, who was bigger than me, just super strong. And so I got up there and I found this book called A Bright Red Scream. And I don't even know how I came across it. But it was a book, mostly women. There were the stories of several men, but it was predominantly stories of women who cut themselves. And I hadn't heard of this before. And this was a long time ago, so it's way more talked about now than it was then. But I saw Amanda in these stories. And it's interesting to me the young women who love Amanda, and there have been like several generations now of like young women who weren't even born when I made that film. And they connect in such a deep way with Amanda and with each other. So I just recently started, I'm like, oh my God, there's a tribe of Amandas, you know? And I'm just like honored to be part of it. And I literally, there's like a room in my heart that is for all the Amandas. Like I just, you know, carry them around in there 24/7. And I couldn't see that coming. It's this like beautiful, I mean, we're just talking, you know, it's just a horror movie. But, so yeah, I just looked for the human being, and Tobin and I were a good match for 3 because he is very scientific and meticulous about how he works. He fills everything out. That was him on the bathroom floor, saw one the entire time. Anytime you see a body on the floor, it's him. He's that dedicated. You know, he was not having any part of my whoopee cushion joke because he takes his work super seriously. And they lucked into him to play that part. And so Saw 3, our rehearsals were, I got into character by just like walking the streets of Toronto with Tobin, because we figured that's what John and Amanda did. They talked about philosophy. You know, I made a bunch of teas for him because I, you know, probably made teas for him 1,000 times, you know, started taking care of him. And it was funny because when I first arrived for Saw 3, and they had the crew was amazing. And this set design was incredible. And I remember walking through the lair the first time when I first got there, and I was like kind of creeped out by it. You know, I was like, whoa, this is like some creepy shit. And then once it's like a thing that clicks into a character. When it does, it doesn't always happen. And those are very painful parts to act out. But sometimes it's like a pair of earrings in a wardrobe fitting that all of a sudden you know the character. You know, it just clicks in you. So whatever moment that clicked, and the next time I walked through the lair, I was comforted by all of that stuff that creeped me out before. And that was a trip. I was like, whoa. That's how the long answer of how that character developed. Because it really was over time, and then it's just kind of trippy that you could look back now and it looks like I meant to make all those choices because I knew where it was adding up to. But no, it's just been like, you know, kind of like life, you know, shit happens and you're like, why would that happen? And you go, oh, such good news, oh, such bad news. And then like time goes by and you look back, you're like, oh, that's why. It's all good, you know. I try, you know, it's like at this point, I don't even try and figure out if it's such good news or such bad news, you know? Yeah. It is what it is.
You did a really great job at portraying and becoming a character.
Thank you.
Very much.
It was an honor. I feel honored to, she's like her own entity now, you know?
I found her more scary than Tobin, especially when it comes to 3.
Yeah, don't fuck with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you had a chance, because I saw your last interview you did, and I know that you didn't get to see the book of Spiral yet. Have you watched it?
I did see Spiral. The movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I saw it in the theaters.
Oh, it wasn't out yet, the last interview I watched.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I did see it. I went to see it in the movies in Missouri. And it was funny. It was this little theater, you know, where my daughter was going to college. And they had, like, Saw things out, like the, you know, Billy and the tricycle. And I'm like, this is so funny. These people have no idea. They would just be like, what the hell is she doing in the Ozarks? But, yeah, I saw it. I love Chris Rock. There were a lot of great things. Were you asking me what I thought of it? Or just that I had seen it? Because I'd love to just say I just saw it.
You love Chris Rock.
I love Chris Rock.
Do we have
Where are you? Oh, hi.
Stand up, bud.
Yeah, stand up.
I love the movie Desperate Hours, which is from a while ago. I was wondering if you have any memories of working with Michael Cimino.
Or Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. Oh, I have lots of memories from that movie. It's funny. I just signed this crazy piece of art like this, and I saw fava beans. I'm like, oh, that's my dad. It was quite a cast. Michael Cimino, who became Michelle Cimino, and is no longer with us on the planet. He was a trip. I remember I was very young, and it was very rushed, and it was a tense set because Mickey Rourke was going through relationship issues, and he would lock himself in the trailer. And ironically, I don't know if that's the right word, but he'd lock himself in the trailer on the phone with his girlfriend at the time, and who was Terry Farrell, who I ended up doing Becker with all those years later. I'm like, you're who he was on the phone with? But so it was tense. I think Michael was losing time, and he was super frustrated. Now that I'm older and I've seen filmmaking from I have a much better understanding for the constraints that are on a director in a day of work. But we were moving so fast, and we had this scene, and it was like, okay. And I think Michael, that's what was happening. Michael was pissed off that the producers were rushing him. And so we did the super fast rehearsal, and then it was like, okay, mark them and let's go. And I was like, and I looked to Michael, I said, can we rehearse a little bit more, before we lock it down? And he goes, oh yeah, everyone clear the set. Shawnee wants to rehearse. Everyone clear the set. And you can see the producers, everyone, and I'm just going He cleared the entire set, and I still wasn't sure which way this was going. And it became very clear when he left the set too. And I think it was me and Danny Moores, and I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. He's such a good actor. Looks like Robert De Niro. Do you remember? He was the other bad guy. I so know it. He's such a good actor, And so they just looked at me. They're like, it's okay, Sean. I was like a kid, He goes, it's okay. He's got a lot of pressure on him. I'm sure we did some type of rehearsing, just, that was scary. I also went for great motorcycle rides with, Mickey. Had all his brother and the, motorcycle gang up there. And it was beautiful in Utah. So I went for lots of awesome motorcycle rides. Those are a couple Desperate Hours stories for you.
Saw has sometimes been referred to as torture porn, and you yourself said that you're not a big, fan of horror films where you get scared really easy. Was there any scenes during the filming of the Saw franchise that you felt maybe pushed the envelope a little bit too far, or you felt uncomfortable filming, maybe the needle pit scene or anything like that?
This needle scene was punk rock. Yeah. I mean, that was just some Sid Vicious shit. Which was terrifying and fun, which is Sid Vicious shit. I was never asked to do anything that what's the word? I hate the word offended, We're also offended about everything these days. What does that get us,
Nothing pushed past the comfortability zone or boundaries.
Yeah, I never felt violated or, that's a strong word. There's a mellower version, but the word's not. Elias Koteas, actor. So maybe this word will come to me soon. which is awesome. Amanda was a great part, and I'm so happy to see more and more of those parts for women, young and middle-aged and old. It's so great to see. That it makes me very happy. My daughter's a writer-director, and it's very satisfying to watch her come up at this time, you know. Yeah. Oh, it's a crazy time, people. Man. Jeez. Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You know, so much of I started when I was 8, so it's been a long time. That was in the 80s, y'all. You know? Yeah. But it's like all of everything that I went through, every, you know, dance I had to do around the various males. I worked with a lot of great men, but, you know, you're doing that dance most of the time in those times as a young actress, and it's all like transfigured in her, you know? It's like, wow, if all that added up to her, then hell yeah, it's all good, you know? Yeah. This is just life, you know? It's just hard. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Blob, I really liked your role in that movie. The way you were kicking ass against the Blob. And like you were saying, like when you were working on them, you ever thought about maybe doing like, you know, more action or like being your own sort of final girl in a movie, like along the lines of like maybe Laurie Strode or even like Sydney from Scream.
Yeah. It's funny. My daughter was, she watched The Blob when she was like a teenager. I didn't listen, when my kids were on the set with me for the Saw films, I made them like look at the ground walking through the production offices, you know? It was so funny because I went through such great pains for them not to see these images, you know? And then I think Saw 3 came out, or it was some Saw, anyways, it was a huge poster in a movie theater. And my middle son, he was still young at the time, the one who was in my belly for the needle pit, we're walking through the theater, and I'm like directing their attention there, and his friend goes, "Oh, there's your mom in the Saw movies." And my son's like, "Yeah, I know." It's like the internet now, you just like, you go to all this effort, you know, but my daughter was just talking about, so she watched it again. She watched The Blob back then. I thought it was like cheeky enough that it wouldn't scare her. It scared the shit out of her. She was like hopping from the couch to a chair. She wouldn't touch the ground for the rest of the day, you know. She's like, it could be anywhere. That's what's so scary about it. But she rewatched it recently, and she was like, man, I think Meg Penny is one of my favorite what do you call them? Final girls. I'm just learning this term. And then I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I've played several final girls. But she started telling about Meg Penny, and I like got this whole new appreciation for Meg Penny. Yeah. You know, she's like, I love that in the sewers, she goes up, you know, she gets them out, and then she drops back down into the water. I love the respect that she has for the men around her and the respect they have for her. Personally, I love, Frank Darabont wrote it, and I learned recently, I read that Meg Penny was his nod to Pennywise, or to Stephen King. But Meg Penny, man, she was pretty bitchin', but like still sweet. She was. Yeah. But super strong, and her parents weren't idiots. I loved that about that movie. I hate seeing idiot parents, you know, because we're not idiots all the time, right? Moms and dads? I hate when I see parents portrayed like that, and I'm so glad that there are more roles as I get older. You know, I'm playing the mother of the lead in this TV show, Bring on City on Fire. I play the Jewish mother of the lead. And I'm just like, every scene I'm in, I just whine and kvetch. I call her Moanin' Ramona, you know? But my son's getting into trouble. My good boy disappears, you know, but every scene it's like I'm on the phone. Is he okay? Where are you? Tell me where you are. You know, the parent roles. But there's so many super interesting parts. It's all good. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Do you still have a band? Did you break up or anything?
I had to quit the band when I had my third kid.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Nothing new coming out? Or
Even the country?
Well, yeah, the Smith and Pyle was the band I quit. I just hung out with Roy Mayorga, who was the drummer in the first Fight Allaho when it was a recording project, and it was Benji Webb from Skin Dread, Roy Mayorga, Soulfly, and Robert Trujillo, Suicidal Tendencies. Some people know him from Metallica and Ozzy. Some people know him from Suicidal Tendencies. It was actually my daughter's father. His concept was we were just friends with all these people, and he thought it would be super cool to have like a very feminine front with a super heavy music bed, you know? And it was a pretty cool concept. It might have been just a little ahead of its time. But I was just with Roy, the drummer, and he asked me where the original tapes were because he wanted to do some remixes. And we talked about maybe, because I'm in New York doing this show now, and he's in LA, so he told me he's going to send me some tracks. He's doing soundtrack stuff, and it's this super cool stuff. I recorded it because my middle son is actually a composer, like just gifted, like plays by ear. I didn't see that coming. Like, I love musicians, I love music, and when the day I realized my own offspring was that musician, was like, just on one hand of the most satisfying things in my life. Roy Mayorga is doing this crazy stuff where he like plugs, he has these like, it's all like, any musicians in here? Like, it's how they've done a lot of horror stuff. So he's doing he's a horror. I went to his house. I go up to the door and I scream because Michael Myers is standing there peeking at me through the curtains, and it's a statue. Like, he's there all the time. Like the FedEx and UPS, all these, you know, this is what they see. And then it turns out I was at Monster Mania and I did a film with Billy Bob Thornton. Well, his son Willie is like a creature creator. He does all the special effects. He's built his own career. So I introduced Willie to Roy. They're both musicians, have all this in common, and it turns out they live in 2 blocks away from each other. So now they'll be friends forever. So maybe I definitely wouldn't rule music out of I still love recording, I love writing, but to, you know, get up on stage, and I have 2 sons that are old enough to go like, Mom, come on. And I can't do that halfway. It's like either, if I'm on stage with music, it's like needle pit or nothing. So I'll just keep that private, keep that in the recording studio. Thank you for asking, though. Very kind of you.
what was it like briefly working on the X-Files?
Super cool. I had my first Starbucks cappuccino. I can still taste it. It was like when Starbucks was just starting to spread from wherever it started. In Oregon, Washington, Seattle. Yeah, Seattle. So I remember my first Starbucks. I remember David Nutter, who's a director, who then, he directs all kinds of stuff now, Game of Thrones included. And who's the lead? Michael? No, David Duchovny, total music fan. So we just geeked out over like his playlist and his iPod. Those are my X-Files memories.
You said a couple times about the writers didn't really know where they were going for
Mm-hmm.
Saw. I always thought Saw.
This is Saw 2, 3, 4, two and 3. Obviously, Saw 1 was like...
Yeah. So I always thought Saw might have been a bit more interesting if they had kept Amanda as Jigsaw. Was there any talk among the writers for actually doing that?
I might have screwed myself on that because remember the rehearsal we were all in, and I can't remember the first person who said, "What if we all die?" It could have been me. I'm not sure. But then Shakespeare was brought into it. And, yeah, in hindsight, if I could be a superhero, it would be Captain Hindsight. You know, these things are what they are. But yeah, it did make sequels tricky, you know? Yeah. You know, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. What can you do with that? And you never know.
No, you never know.
You never know. Yeah. You don't know what happened in that hospital.
Anything. With how you are now,
Mm-hmm.
do you agree with what John Kramer and Amanda Young did in the song?
Personally?
Can you sympathize for
Can you sympathize? Can you like understand why they did it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It seems like we're all kind of indolent most of the time, but that's just like self-preservation. I mean, who can be totally conscious in this world all the time? It's too much. You know? It's hard being human in the world. It is fucking hard. But then that makes us appreciate having each other, you know, to go through it with. That's the beauty of it, you know? It's like you don't know the heat until you experience the cold. You know, flying here last night, I thought that was it. I was saying my prayers. I am not kidding. So I am that much more grateful to be sitting here now with you. You know, we flew around a tornado. Oh my gosh. It was nuts. Anyways, enough of that. So yeah, in that sense, I'm not condoning it. You guys going out and putting someone in a trap.
No.
Especially one that they can't escape.
Oh yeah. With that, on that note, how was it being put into that reverse bear trap then?
Well, that was like, I mean, it was heavy, but it was, you know, it was so loose that once I started flailing around, my head's turning and the thing's just staying forward, you know, it was clearly not attached. And I was telling someone earlier, that's filmmaking, you know, it's just this like, this flurry of problem solving with tons of pressure on you, you know, and because there's so much money riding on every minute you're filming, you know, and then just like you're having like shit's happening all the time, stuff's going wrong. So they're like, oh my God, we didn't think about that. Like, you know, so they solved it with a wooden tongue depressor and they shoved it into the inside where, you know, the things, it was a tiny space they shoved there and then I just held it with my teeth. But, you know, luckily I just have these like rock jaws. Thank God. See, you go, oh, such good news. Oh, such bad news. Well, it worked for that.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember reading an interview she was trying to put it on, it actually, like, before they were able to get it to,
Oh,
where you were able to wear it safely.
well, that's good to know.
And he was testing it out and trying it out because
He would.
And how he created Billy by hand, like that, the whole thing.
Yeah.
He created.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, just like creators keep on creating. Just keep going. And you will, because you have to. But it's a beautiful thing. Like, that's the stuff that makes this tough life worth living. We all need accountants and doctors and lawyers and totally need them, you know? But the stuff that is worth being alive for, keep creating. Keep writing, keep making your puppets, keep making those crazy Lego things upstairs that made me almost walk into the mirror. Drawing, painting, writing, playing. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Do you guys have any other questions? Go for it.
Speaking of props, were there any props from, say, like the set of Saw that you actually kept?
Oh, God, no. Dude, if there was a piece of dust on that set, John Rabin was taking it. No. Well, let me say, after the first Saw, they got real. I think the guy who made the first jaw trap kept it, and they, to their chagrin, but after that, after they knew what they had, you know, they kept everything.
Was there anything on there that you did want? Or you were just like, no?
Oh, I would have taken all kinds of stuff. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Totally.
I would have been all over the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a bitchin' robe. Yeah.
How hard did they have to work to get you to do the movie? Because I know you didn't want to do it for
Oh, you know, at the time I got that first Saw script, I was in the middle of a divorce with the awesome guy. We're still pals. My daughter's father, who his vision was Fight Allaho. Like he had that was his kind of baby. In hindsight, no, it was a cool concept. I don't know if it was smart to have his wife be the front person for that band, or if he paid attention to the lyrics. But that said, what was the question?
How hard did they have to work for you to accept it?
Yes, we were going through a divorce, and I was just like, it was just a tough time. It was one of those times in life where you're just so tired, you know, and you just like, you're just so tired. And I read the script, and I can't, when I act out a thing, like I'm all in or forget it, because I just don't want to feel like a fool. And I just was like, I thought it was super cool, but I said, you know, I can't live through this right now. But I thank you so much for asking, you know. And it was no money, and so it wasn't like, you know, supporting my family, that would enter into the decision. And so it really was just more that. But my manager, who I've been with my daughter's 23, I've been with him for 22 years. I was his first client. He was a manager at that, I forget what the management company was called, but Mark Berg and Oren Koulis that was their management company, and they produced the Saw film. So, that's how the script came to me, because James had seen me he had a crush on me from the 80s films, you know. Thank God. And so then I gave that response, and then Mark and Oren, those guys said, just come by the office in the next couple of days. I want to show you the scene that they filmed. That would be your scene. I was like, okay. So I came in to the office, and we got in the big conference room, and they had a big screen, and they showed me the jaw trap scene. That's how they got the movie made. Did you guys know this? James and Lee, and this is the beauty of the confines, like they just graduated film school, they had no money. So like, what movie? It's like what my daughter's doing right now. She has so many ideas, she has so many scripts and books, but she's like, what could I film for nothing, Like, what could I get made now? And that's how they came up with, 2 guys in the bathroom. So, they had the script, the concept, and then they filmed that jaw trap scene. And Lee was in the jaw trap. So I see this thing on the screen. I was like, fuck it, I am in. Like, I'm so in. Yeah, definitely. So it was just that particular time, in life and at that moment. But thank God they asked me into that conference room.
And what went into creating Saw, it was just a short film, and they were supposed to do it with like a security camera for a lot of it, and they ended up changing it around. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. What's that story?
I read an interview with James Wan. That's how I found out about him making Billy and how it was concepted, how the whole thing started, and it changed with having Tobin in the bathroom. And I read that's where Tobin did everything. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, he insisted on it.
Hours.
Yeah. And he controlled his breathing so that.
Yeah, that's his skill.
Yeah, he is very scientific.
Yeah.
That's super cool, man. I just love filmmakers. Watching my daughter come up too has given me even more of a perspective. When you're an actor, especially back in the day when there were stars, now the playing field is just way more level, which, like everything, has its ups and its downs. But when you're the actor on the set, you're kind of coddled. It's probably being younger too, They try and shield you from, But seeing the process of the filmmaker and the writer and my daughter coming up and all her friends and stuff, it's just it's so cool, man. It's just so creative and inventive and go team go and suffering together, and it's just awesome. Someone asked me the other day, and she was with me, when did you know you wanted to become an actor? And my daughter said, without missing a beat, she said, oh, just recently. Because it's fun. Yeah. When you're a kid, there's so much pressure. I think there was so much pressure always on it. Yeah. And now it's just it's just more and more fun. Oh, John, you're going to make me cry. That movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, that's John. That character is him. He was so kind and caring and nurturing to everyone around him, but just not nice to himself. Which, I don't know, we find a lot in comedians, that kind of. But as good as you think and hope that he was in life, he was even gooder. Yeah. He was awesome. He was funny. We went blues bar and strip bar hopping with Bon Jovi one night in a white limo. And it was funny. John Candy ended up on the stage singing. You would think it would be the other way around.
Go ahead, buddy. What's your take on the whole Jigsaw isn't a murderer debate that exists?
Personally?
Yeah.
I feel like I'd have to go to university and do a lot of ethical research, and make my brain work really hard to give a responsible answer. None of those things I'm willing to do at this moment. Having a daughter who just graduated college and all the essays she wrote, that's a very deep topic to look at. What do you think? Do you have an opinion?
He absolutely is. Yeah. How can you murder people for years and not be a murderer? Like, he's a murderer.
Yeah.
We have another question. Yep, him here, and then you're raising your hand over there, little man. Okay, perfect. Him, and then.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see you there. I would not have been cursing so much. I'm so sorry. Literally, there's a pole in front of that.
He's heard worse.
Oh. Try not to curse if you don't have to.
So, Shawnee, who is your, I'll do a quick two-parter that's not Jigsaw or anything related to that. I'm a clinical psychologist and you're getting thrown a lot of heavy questions.
I defer to him.
I'm going to talk to Adam about this.
Josh, is it Josh? No, Adam. Well, that's easy for us.
Yeah. Who's your actor or actress that you still like to work with in your career, and who's your celebrity crush? Look at that. That's a pretty killer question. And lighthearted.
Whoa.
Shawnee's so mindful.
Well, you know, it's funny. I just watched the first season of Killing Eve, and I would say that covers both. I mean, what's that actress's name? Anybody know? She's from Liverpool, I know that. Where, back to Jason, my first husband, he's from Liverpool. Coleman, Jodie Comer. I want to work with her, and I have a crush on her. Done and done.
Two-parter, right?
Two-parter, yeah. That's ironic that my simplest answer is with the psychologist in the room. Yes, young man.
What was the scariest game you were in from John Kramer?
What is what?
The scariest game you were in from John Kramer.
Oh, well, the very last one, where I couldn't discern. I'm going to let the psychologist explain it to you. I couldn't discern what the game was. It's better to be in a game you know how to play and you know what the game is. In 10 years, I'm going to book an appointment with Adam over here for you to work that out.
Kid video games. What do you think of that?
I would love to do more voiceover stuff. I have kids that are into anime, kids that are into, I can't remember the name of it now, but, oh no, I'm talking about the anime I'm into. You know, with the Attack on Titans? Oh, Attack on Titans. Oh, well, I found out from I heard Billy Bob's voice in Miyazaki movie, and I was like, oh my God, that's Billy Bob. And then we just saw Willie recently, and he said, yeah, because he's totally into anime. He's like, my dad did that movie, he only did it because I was so into anime. So I would love to do more voiceover stuff. But that's like from what I understand, it's a very small world. It's like a tough nut to crack. Yeah. So, yeah, if there's an opening, I would totally be the first one through the door. It's super fun. And you can, do it in your sweats.
That we can. We have that one and then this one. Oh, this one here first?
No, he's first.
Okay, so you.
Oh, you guys are so mellow, polite. It's like, yeah, there's a photo up. Yeah, I think your panel starts like now. We go in. Yeah. As soon as I run into this mirror, I'll be right there. Such a great vibe here. Yeah.
Well, this is kind of like his two for one question. Speaking of, you were mentioning your fondness for comedians, and speaking of lightheartedness, what was it like sort of transitioning from horror to comedy with your role on the show Anger Management, and also would you consider more comedic roles?
Well, it was fun. What was a more interesting segue was Linda on Becker to Amanda. Because after 5.5 years of playing that part, it was funny. I went to acting school at a place called Playhouse West in California, and Bob Carnegie and Jeff Goldblum were my teachers. And Bob Carnegie is Sandy Meisner's protege. So Sandy would sit in the early days, he was there sometimes in the classes. And Bob would say sometimes, I'd come back and sit in for some classes, and Bob would always say, you know her, she's a character actress, folks. Linda on Becker, nothing like her. And he used to use that as an example of what playing a character and not a caricature of the character, I very recently realized that Linda is possibly a combination of me and Jason, my daughter's dad. He's like a surf photographer, just from Liverpool, right? When I had no idea he was from Liverpool because he moved here, I guess, as a teenager, and he didn't like standing out. He's shy, so he started talking like the surfers he hung out with. So it was like when I met him in Malibu, it was like, yeah, dude. And then we went to visit his parents for the first time. He's like, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, how's it going? I'm like, who are you? So I was looking at my daughter, and I'm like, man, you're the best of your dad and me. And then I was like, you kind of like Linda. And I'm like, whoa, man, was Linda me and Jason? Anyways, who knows where characters come from. But it was cool to go do Amanda, because people who might have thought, oh, this is just what she does, got reminded that, because, Amanda couldn't have been farther. So I'm a character actress. Now I'm playing the kvetching Jewish mother of Charlie. Charlie, why you do this to me, Charlie? It's my next scene. I just rehearsed it. What do you guys think? You got any notes for me? Is he dead?
Okay, kind of related. With you just kind of coming off of Becker, and a lot of the other actors in that first Saw movie kind of were better known for comedies or action comedies at the time, like Carrie Ellis and stuff like that. Was that kind of intentional casting against type?
I don't know if it was conscious, but there was definitely a cheekiness to it that I loved. Yeah, I think that's Lee Wanell, honestly. I think that's Lee. Did you guys see Invisible Man? He killed it. No pun intended. But he has really come along. Super talented. God bless the creators. My God, it's so hard to just keep going. But you just keep going. So what else are you going to do? That's worth it. And psychologists are very important too, because you help all us artists keep going.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Shawnee.
You guys, thanks for every time I do a panel, I hope people are here. So thanks for being here. Saw fans are the best fans.
And that was Shawnee Smith live from Horror Con. So cool to be able to bring that to you. Thank you again to Dan from Horror Con. and always a lot of fun to bring these to you. And I'm certainly glad I have this stuff to bring to you, because of when you have an unexpected move and you need to kind of cover up that time. I'm glad I had this stuff sitting in the wings, because, relocating, and we're going to maybe have a brief hiatus as I relocate and get a new podcast situation in the new home. And, that takes time. Anybody who's done a move knows it's stressful, and there's a lot of packing and unpacking, and just, you're still working and trying to find a place. So I'm hoping I've found a place. I've got a deposit down, so it should be good. I should be locked in for December 1st. So once I start moving stuff over and get the podcast equipment unpacked, we'll be doing more podcast stuff for you. If you're wondering where 31 Days of Horror is, it's going to be a little delayed. It's going to happen. Those are very long recordings for us and a lot of editing, and that's a lot of work and a lot of time I don't have right now. So I hope to get those to you in December, and with very little break after these HorrorCon. Hopefully you won't notice. That's the ideal situation, is we'll have enough to cover my time packing and moving and then come back. But there could be couple weeks break, and if that's the case, we'll try to let you know on our social media at Invasion Remake on Twitter, Invasion of the Remake on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And if you have any other questions, invasionoftheRemake@gmail.com. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere, but if you don't see a new episode for a couple of weeks, that's because I'm relocating. So stressful for me, but hopefully not for you. You've got lots of back catalog to cover you if there's a bit of a gap. Crazy to think about, because I've been on every show since the inception of the show. I've never missed a week in 7 years of getting this show out to you. So it hurts me a little bit personally that might happen, but I take pride in that. I've done this consistently every week for 7 years, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And the only time off is not going to be relaxing, but we'll come back and we'll have 31 Days of Horror. A little bit of time off for the holidays. We'll come back in January with, of course, our usual cult movie trailer go treat, and then back to normal, hopefully. That is the plan. It might take me a little while to get settled, but we'll get back into the podcasting pretty quickly. So once I'm kind of in a new spot, hopefully the show will get back to normal. Packing sucks, unpacking, that's where you get to take your time a little bit. So I'll be able to do that a little slower. All right, well, yeah, we've got maybe 2 more of these, and I'll keep you posted. There might be something a little extra in your feed if we wind up missing a week, just to let you know what's going on, keep you apprised of what's happening. But congratulations to our 31 Days of Horror Challenge winners. I don't know who they are yet. Watch our social media. They've probably already been announced by the time you hear this, but I don't know who they are just yet. But I have seen the submissions, so we've definitely got some winners coming, and we look forward to reading some of your lists on our 31 Days of Horror specials, as well as our own lists. I did manage to squeeze in my own list during all of this chaos. Just turn on the boob tube, start packing boxes, and with the horror movie playing in the background. So I got to watch some stuff, and there were some nights where I couldn't even stay in my own home. I haven't actually filled you, the audience, in on the situation, but I got smoked out of my own home by new neighbors, and that kind of sucks when you're a non-smoker, and it was just too intense for me it's coming through my walls, coming through my windows, and some days it's just so smoky in here. I got to stay at a friend's house. I've been staying at Sam's or my parents or somewhere. It's really a weird situation to be in. But yeah, well, my landlords don't want to do anything about it, so I am, and that means I got to relocate. It does suck because I've been in this place 10 years, but it's time to go anyway. So sometime, I guess that's the universe saying, get your ass out of here. Well, that's me filling you in. You didn't need to hear it, but hopefully you understand if there's a bit of a break in the schedule. Make sure you visit our store that'll certainly help out the podcast while we're away. And we've got lots of new designs popping up on the store and a few retiring. So how do you get to the store? Go to our website, invasionofthemake.wixsite.com/podcast. There's a store button there. Hit our TeePublic Store. There's a whole bunch of brand new designs Sam made for this year's 31 Days of Horror. And some new Christmas designs as well. Some new holiday designs if you're not celebrating Christmas, but we have done some wonderful Christmas episodes, and we've got some shirts to celebrate those episodes as well. And they're always kind of start selling really well around American Thanksgiving, and now's your time to get those. Watch our social media for those days when specials are happening where you can get 35% off, or we launch a new design. If we launch a new design, we'll also let you know, and usually within the first couple of days of a launch, you can get those new designs at a discount. But also watch our social media because we are retiring some designs. This could be your last chance to get those designs. So don't delay. If you've been humming and hawing about some of the old ones, now's your time to get it because you may never get it again. We're going to take those down from the store. So this is your last shot. But we always got new designs coming up. So if you miss something, hopefully you'll like the next thing that goes up. All right, well, I think that is it. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Until next week, I've been Jason. Sam and Trish will be coming back, don't you worry. We'll see you next week for another HorrorCon special. Until then, I've been Jason. I am out of here.
Hello, Eric. You probably don't even remember me, but you changed my life once. You sent me to prison. I was guilty of a lot of things, but not the drug charge you framed me for. You wouldn't know the things you lose when you're locked away. The second time somebody changed my life, I was guilty.
Hello, Amanda.
But my life was saved that day.
You said you survived this, right?
Yeah. I found myself a father, a leader, a teacher.
You must meet death in order to be reborn.
Help me. What is the cure for cancer, Eric?
Those who don't appreciate life do not deserve life.
The cure for death itself. The answer is immortality.
Daniel!
By creating a legacy, by living a life worth remembering, you become immortal. So now we find the tables are turned.
He asked for you.
What do you want? I told you.
He wants us to survive this.
I want to play a game.
You have to play by the fucking rules!
The rules are simple. What you have to do is sit here and talk to me. What? If you can do that long enough, you will find your son in a safe and secure state. What the fuck is that? Your son Daniel. You remember him, don't you?
My dad's it's real hard.
I call you unworthy of the life you've been given. The knowledge of your son's impending death has caused you to forgive all his sins. Why is it that we're only willing to do that when a life is... Daniel! I'm listening to you. Don't forget the rules.
Shut the fuck up!
He's playing a game.
You know how to talk to him.
You're not saying shit!
You both know the sort of person you are. I'd like to go now to his son's busy holiday to the house.
Daniel?
Something I haven't told you, Eric.
It is I who will carry on John's work after he dies.
Daniel!
So go ahead. Destroy him.
And you
Daniel!
are my first test subject. Now you are locked away, helpless and alone.
Fucking bitch.
Game over.
I'll fucking kill you!